Do you play Animal Crossing?
Not me, no. I don't really play Animal Crossing now. Yeah, no. Not for me.
But are you still a fan of Animal Crossing?
Still no, no. I don't not really a fan of it as well. Why did I make this again? Well, it started off with me looking at some Instagram videos where it, for somewhat reason, started to recommend me resin art videos, which did catch my attention. The problem is, I don't know resin. I know raisin, but resin? No. But I do know that resin looks like a transparent liquid, which reminded me of water, and water reminded me of the sea, which reminded me of fishing, which reminded me of fishing from Animal Crossing. Best way to think of an idea. Henceforth, I decided to make an Animal Crossing 3D print slash resin art slash honestly some part of me decided to make this because Animal Crossing characters just look easier to sculpt kind of thing. Since I'm not fond of Animal Crossing, first thing I did was borrowing my family's Nintendo Switch and open up Animal Crossing to take some reference pictures. Afterwards, I went into Blender to start sculpting. But before actually sculpting it, we need a basic idea of how we'll make the sculpture. So this is the sand. This is sand. This is the character. This the fishing pond. The fishing the resin water. The resin water blue resin water because oceans are green. Leslie and fish. The fishes. First, we start off with the sand dune. To make the sand, we started from a flat cylindrical mesh and start pulling the model to make it look sand-like. Now, it may seem like I'm pulling the model in random-ass direction, praying it will eventually look like sand dune at the end, but you're actually correct. Afterwards, I cut out the model into the size which will fit into the resin mold, and voila, we got the sand part. Next, we make the fish. We start off creating a ginormous cone, resize it down, rotate, resize it again, extrude face, make face small, and overall just fondle around until we get somewhat of a fish-shaped model. We don't want any strict looking model here, so let's subdivide it, then fondle it around again to make it look like, well, fish. Then we put it into the mold and basically do little tweaks and see how the fish model fits the environment. And last but not least, make it look wavy. Scoliosis. Just taking a look on what we have so far, and let's move on to sculpting the character. Now, this villager in the reference pic is actually my mother's character. Yeah, she played Animal Crossing. Anyways, as you can see, I've taken two pictures, one front view, one side view, and if you're new to sculpting like me, I highly recommend you to take at least two reference pictures like so. Anyways, I started sculpting the head based on the pictures, then I slightly carved out the eye and the mouth. Next, I added a little nose and moved on to the hair, which is probably the most difficult part. Relatively. Same as the old method, I used the
Bezier
curve to mesh out the hair and using mirroring to make the other side of the hair. Do some tweaks. Now it's time to make the side and the back hair. It's not really that different from the front hair. Front hair is at the front, side hair is at the side, maiden hair are at the maiden. The world's first maiden hairpin. Probably. We just have to follow the reference image. Sculpt one bulk of hair at a time, starting from one side and duplicating it to make the next bulk of the hair, and then the next bulk of the hair, and then the next bulk of the hair, and then the next bulk of the hair. Good news is that we only have to make one half of the hair since we can just mirror the other side. But before actually mirroring it, I joined all the hair meshes into one and smoothened it out because the reference picture didn't really show any dividing lines of the hair. Then I mirrored it, gave it a little hair detail, and proceeded on with the body. I started off from a cylindrical mesh and used the side reference image to start extruding upwards until I got to the full outline of the side image. Then facing towards the front, it didn't really look like the front reference image, so using sculpt mode, I thickened some parts that needed to be thickened and also gave it some shoulder. Lastly, I carved out the stripe part of the shirt just for the reference in the later stage. Similar to how I've made the body, I made the legs, the neck, and the arms, and just spears for the hand.
I'm a spear.
The feet or the shoe was the hardest part for me. I tried extruding the bottom part of the feet, but that didn't really work out. I tried creating a reference mesh that looks like the side of the shoe, but that didn't work out as well. The best result came by subdividing a bulky and geometric mesh and editing into size. After sculpting one side, I mirrored all the parts and started with creating the assembly parts, commencing with the leg, the head, and so forth. One of the problems I had was to figure out how I should assemble the front hair. As you can see, the front hair is joined with the back hair by a tip of a point, which in printing, it's impractical. So just like any problems in life, the best way to solve this problem is add a hemisphere. Bad score, add a hemisphere. Crying baby, add a hemisphere.
Whoa, marriage problem? Yeah, you need a marriage counseling for that one, yeah, sorry.
Anyways, the hemisphere will be attached to the front hair and act as the assembly part. After designing the assembly part, we have to make the final model, which is the fishing rod. There are many types of fishing rod in Animal Crossing, but I decided to make the lowest tier because it looked iconic. Next, I rotated the villager's arm so that it can hold the fishing rod. Wait, this is the left hand. And finally, let's let it handle the stick, that's what she said, and print the object.
There were some trouble while printing the objects like this one.
What the
But at the end, we got all the parts all coated with primer. Except some parts did get broken. Professionalism. After applying primer, it's time to paint. This time I tried using a masking tape for the first time, so I masked the shoe part and painted the skin. As a result, I think it came out fine. Some parts smeared under the masking tape, but it's fine. I scraped it with a knife. After that, just paint each part with the corresponding color. The hair is blue and sand is, sand color.
Official sand color.
While I was spraying the paint, I got an assistant who voluntarily painted the detailed parts. It was my mother, and her resume was much better than mine. She colored the eye, the mouth, the nose, the blemish, and even the highlights of the eye. And this is the final result of the head. The combination of my spraying and her detailed brush touch of the face. Obviously, the spraying was the outstanding part, of course. I added a layer of yellow that's more yellow than the yellow that was sprayed on the sand dune to make it look more sandy. And the details were painted by my mother. Cause I was busy. I gotta play my Apex Legends. Anyways, we colored all the small parts and it's time for the assembly. Simply, I just glued all the assembly parts from the body to the hair and let it rest until it got, glued together. Next, glue the whole thing to the sand dune and it's time for the applause. I got no friends. For this piece, I decided to add a layer of varnish to coat the painting. By applying varnish, the paint now has a protective layer from any minor fall damages or any kinds of damages. Except the damage you get when you realize your friends care less than you care them. Anyways, after varnishing, it's time to deal with resins. First I placed all the stuffs into where they should be. Then I checked out the resin. This product has a mix ratio of 3:1. So a quick math quiz for you guys. If I pour 66 grams of resin, how much hardener should I pour? It's Pikachu. Next, let's churn the mix well and add blue coloring for the base color.
It's blue. It's blues.
After pouring a thin layer of resin, I placed the fish and used a lighter to get rid of any bubbles. Simply, I kept on pouring and scorching it till I reached the level I wanted. And now, after a while, there was a problem with the fish. Since the resin is much dense than this piece of plastic, the fish kept on rising to the surface. So in order to take care of that problem, I installed the highly sophisticated gravity-driven anti-buoyancy Archimedes vertical push instrument, Mark 1. Based on my online research of how to make wave and resin art, I poured some white resin to make the waves, but as you can see, it's terrible. And even better, I found out that land was also floating. Great! So I installed the brand new highly sophisticated gravity-driven anti-buoyancy arcade communities, vertical push German Mark II, open brackets, hammers included. Now we leave it to rest for more than 10 hours, and when it's hardened, let's ask the professional to add in the details. And Animal Crossing Fishing 3D print / resin art bleep up beep 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 up boop up is finally finished. This was a challenge for myself, using resin to make a diorama. The resin part had some flaws, but I think it's not that bad, so I'll have to cope with it. This can now be used to make your toilet more lush, or a paperweight when you're not capable of flipping over a book. For somewhat reason. It can also work for digital paper as well. It can even be used as a filter for your camera when you take selfies in your bathroom mirror. I know you're doing that. Or, a decoration. Which is boring. Anyways, if you've watched the video up till this point, thank you for watching. I wish it gave you some happiness somehow, and I wish you keep it until the next video. Which can be like 5,000 years later. I mean, who knows when. Thank you again, and goodbye for now.